Morning, I'm KC. This is Keystone Curiosity, where we talk about all things unique to the state of Pennsylvania. Today's episode is going to be about the Maple Weekend in Potter and Tioga County.
Welcome to Keystone Curiosity, where we explore the life, land, and culture of my beloved home state. Pennsylvania has something to offer everyone, and is living proof that the world is a beautiful place. You just need to take the time to find it. Held at 21 different farms across Potter and Tioga counties, the Maple Weekend is hosted in the early spring during the usual harvest season of maple sap, which is called the sugaring season.
Now, if Pennsylvania isn't the first state you think of when it comes to maple syrup, then you would be absolutely right to do so. Vermont is in fact the highest producing state in the US, and by a lot really. But it might surprise you to find that Pennsylvania was actually the 7th largest producer of maple syrup this past year in 2022 at over 164,000 gallons produced.
As it is with most things unique to North America, maple syrup was first produced by the Native Americans, who would boil the sap using methods that predate their access to metals. These methods would later be adopted and improved upon by European settlers. At the beginning of the spring thaw, they would make V-shaped incisions in the trunks of specific trees, where they would then insert reeds or concave bark to act as a spout, allowing the sap to flow into clay pots or birch buckets. As time went on, technologies would improve, as it inevitably does, and the process of refining syrup from sap would become more efficient. This would see the replacing of buckets on trees with plastic tubing and vacuum collection. These advances would play a positive effect on both the industry and the trees themselves. Years ago, a 2-inch hole was needed for each tap. The sap would flow, and the tap would be removed at the end of the season, leaving the tree to heal, which would typically take around 2 years.
But thanks to the advances of modern technology, what was a 2-inch hole has been reduced in size to about 5/16 of an inch and allows the tree to heal completely in about 6 months.
The sugaring season typically runs from mid-February through early April, though as it is with all agriculture, this is heavily dependent on the weather and other natural factors uncontrollable by man. The maple trees begin producing when the temperature is consistent with freezing nights and warm thawing days. When this occurs and how long it lasts determines the output of the season. Last year, 2022, had experienced warmer than average temperatures earlier in the year. This led to a shorter sugaring season and less syrup produced, being down from 168,000 gallons in 2021 and 178,000 in 2020. But how exactly do these farmers go from sugary tree water to the nectar of the forest that blesses our pancakes in the morning? It all starts with the sap. In truth, the sap from almost any maple tree can be used, but sugar maples tend to be the preferred tree due to their higher sugar concentration, resting at around 1.5% to 2% by volume. At these percentages, it takes roughly 40 to 50 gallons of maple sap to produce 1 gallon of maple syrup. The sap is collected in buckets or through tubing that pumps into tanks for easier access. It is often then run through a reverse osmosis machine that helps filter out a large portion of the water, thus increasing the sugar concentration. From there, the sap is boiled using evaporators. These evaporators usually contain multiple different compartments that allow the sap to be boiled in stages, each one increasing the sugar percentage, which can be seen as the liquid darkens. Once the syrup reaches the desired percentage of sugar, which is around 66 to 67%, the cloudy liquid is drained into a vat, where it is mixed with diatomaceous earth before being passed through a series of filters to remove the cloudiness, leaving the golden amber color iconic for a maple syrup. From here, it is barreled up and prepared for consumption to the general public. Currently, only about 0.17% of all the trees across the state of Pennsylvania that have the potential to be tapped are actually used for syrup production. It is estimated that if that was increased to slightly over half of 1%, the amount of maple syrup produced would generate nearly $10 million and cover the demand for the entire state without needing to import. In order to help raise awareness for these improvements, the PA Wilds regions and other organizations such as the Potter-Tioga Maple Producers Association have been pushing heritage, agricultural, and environmental tourism, including the organizing and hosting of the Maple Weekend. The association was first organized in 1963, where its members would pool their money together to buy containers and various supplies in bulk, using the savings for advertising and other necessities to increase profits and raise awareness for their craft. This 19th year of hosting the Maple Weekend has been one such example and gives maple fans a chance to experience the process for themselves on location, with demonstrations and detailed explanations by the producers themselves. Each of these farms are owned and operated by local Pennsylvanians who take part in the whole process, from tapping the trees and harvesting the sap, to boiling and refining the syrup itself. Multi-generational farms and hobbyists looking to challenge themselves and educate the public, these artisans take pride in their efforts and enthusiastically enlighten those ignorant of the finer points of maple syrup.
I myself was ignorant to the fact that the pancake syrup that you normally would get at the grocery store isn't even maple syrup at all. It's just corn syrup with maple additives. Now, for those of you who have an interest in the details that I can't really get into when it comes to these short videos that I make, you can find more information at the Potter-Tioga Maple Producers Association's Facebook page or at their website at pamaple.com. For the rest of you who might just have a curiosity for maple syrup, or just like the fun things all across Pennsylvania, you can find the dates for any of the subsequent maple weekends, or their annual maple festival that's held in Countersport at the same website, which I will include a link to below. That's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. As per the usual, if you have any suggestions on where you'd like to see me go next, feel free to put them in the comments below. In the meantime, hit that like and subscribe so that you can receive notifications about anywhere else near Potter-Tioga County or all across the state of Pennsylvania itself. But in the meantime, y'all have a good one.